of Johannesburg, 104.4 in the Vaal, and 107.2 in Ekurhuleni. Now we're talking.
All right, 12 minutes past 7 p.m. And as promised, we do have the SA Cane Growers Association joining us. They're calling for funding for small-scale cane growers amid a milling crisis. This is a sugar sector, which we know has been in crisis mode for quite a while. And we know that resilience can only take you so far. Joining us on the line to unpack really what's happening in the sector is Andrew Russell, the chairperson of the SA Cane Growers Association. Andrew, always a pleasure. Good evening.
Good evening, Tando.
Now, Andrew, let's first talk about, maybe recap the milling crisis that we have in South Africa. I think it's certainly at crisis level now.
Yes, it is. As we all know, Tongaat Hulett, the milling company, put themselves into voluntary business rescue in October last year. And the company is being managed by the business rescue practitioners. Sorry about that. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, they managed to make it through last season, and they've done the necessary work they need to do in order to prepare the mills for the current season. But there's still an enormous amount of uncertainty around those mills.
Andrew, you there?
Hello?
Yes, Andrew. I think your line just keeps cutting, but let's keep going.
Yes, sorry about that. So there's an enormous amount of uncertainty around those mills, and one of the decisions that the business rescue practitioners have made has impacted all of the rest of the industry, and that is to not honor the obligations, their industry obligations. And as a result of that, growers and the other millers have had to make good that default, and it's had a significant impact on the revenue earned by growers last year, and therefore made it very difficult for them to start this season. So we're asking for the minister to intervene to stabilize the situation and to provide some financial relief for all growers, but as you say, most specifically around the small-scale growers who are the most vulnerable.
Now, I must ask you, Andrew, about the core here. So we are asking the minister, maybe you can clarify which minister we're asking, and then also the master plan, because there is a sugar master plan here that should also be in motion. And I'm wondering where we're faring with that and how that could possibly support the situation that we find ourselves in right now.
Yes, the minister we're talking about is Minister Ibrahim Patel. He is Minister for the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, as well as the Department of Economic Affairs. And as you say, he's also presiding over a master plan together with the Minister for Agriculture, Minister Toko Didiza. That master plan is in full swing. We've completed the first 3-year phase of it. It's done a significant amount of, it's facilitated a significant amount of change within the industry, but we have not yet reached a point where we've been able to implement some of the changes that are necessary. That's an ongoing process, and the instability of the industry and of the milling sector specifically has hindered our progress on that. But it is absolutely essential that we continue with the master plan in order to design a new, diversified and inclusive future for the South African sugarcane growing value chain.
Now, I must ask you, Andrew, when I think of Tongaat Hulett and the challenges there, and also that they are in this business rescue process, and we're not quite sure when that will come to a close, but does it not speak to concentration within the milling or sugar sector, where, there are key organizations and, based on what's happened with Tongaat, so much of the value chain has battled? I'm wondering if we shouldn't be trying to reimagine the sugar sector, maybe with a few more players, more diversified, and certainly with a little bit more competition.
Well, I think that you're quite right. The sugarcane value chain is very interdependent. The growers depend heavily on the people that process their product, and those processors depend heavily on the growers supplying them with sufficient feedstock, sufficient sugarcane to make their operations economically viable. So there's a very delicate balance that exists there. Certainly, if we're moving towards a diversified future, which we are looking at, moving away just from making sugar and molasses from the sugarcane, but also towards being a considerable contributor to our electricity woes, which is one of the potentials within the industry, as well as making biofuel for not only vehicles but also for aeroplanes. Inevitably, there will be more players involved in that scenario, and so not only diversifying into more products, but also diversifying with more participants within the industry. So that is something we're working hard towards, but we're not quite there yet. And the short-term instability that is playing out over the last 6 months and seems to be likely to continue over the rest of this year is certainly hampering that development.
And then, Andrew, you've made the call now to the Minister for this funding and also for assistance. I'm wondering how that's going, relations with government and how the conversations are going, and if the call for funding is one that is being responded to and at the rate that it should be, just considering how long the sector has been in trouble for.
Yes, so the master plan certainly has created an environment for change within the industry, but also within the entire sugarcane value chain, not only the industry players themselves, but also the users of the products that we make, the retailers and the industrial users that make fizzy drinks and other products from using our sugar. But it's also brought us into a much more collaborative relationship with government, specifically with the Department of Trade and Industry and also with the Department of Agriculture. So that relationship, the communication is going well, and it's a lot more open than it perhaps has been at certain times in our history. So we are concerned that it's taken 7 months to bring the minister to the table, but we do understand that there have been some significant developments within the last week. We met on Wednesday last week specifically for the master plan in Cape Town with both ministers, and we were told there that there would be some major developments within the week, and we're hoping to hear about those shortly.
Well, Andrew, will be keen to find out how that goes. Thank you so much for always engaging with us and helping us understand what's happening here. And I do hope that, we do get the assistance for the value chain that is needed there. So much hinges on that sector working well, especially the KZN economy.
Yes, it certainly does. KZN, but also in Mpumalanga in the Lowveld, significant employer there as well, the sugarcane value chain. Over 1 million livelihoods depend on the sugar industry within South Africa, so it does matter. It is important, and thank you, Nolatanda, for the opportunity to share our perspective on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That is Andrew Russell, chairperson of the SA Canegrowers Association, speaking to us about the call for government to assist with funding in order to assist the milling sector, which is in trouble and has been for quite a while.
Power Drive with Thabiso Kotane.
There are 2 prison warders at Goodwood Police Station.
Okay.
One is 45.